In the previous sections, we have discussed about some of the methods of analysis of structures, and to be precise, we discussed about the force methods, the method of consistent deformation, and the unit load method. Now, in this section, I am going to introduce what is the flexibility matrix method of analysis, which is essentially a matrix formulation of the method of consistent deformation. So once we understand the method of consistent deformation through several illustrative examples in the previous sections, it will be easier for us to appreciate this method. We have seen that the coefficient matrix of the compatibility equations which are formed in the consistent deformation method is symmetric. Now, that is going to be exploited in this method also. Well, to start with, we have to explain what is flexibility. Flexibility of a structure, for example, let us take an axially loaded member, let it be a member like that, subjected to a tensile force. The properties of this member are area of cross section, length of the member, Young's modulus. These are the properties. Now, following Hooke's law, we know that stress is proportional to strain. That is equal to, stress is equal to load divided by area of cross section subjected to strain minus principle, divided by strain will be delta, which is elongation of the member, divided by original length. Now, this is equal to a constant, and that is the constant is defined as Young's modulus. That is how Hooke's law is defined. Alright. Using this, we can write the deflection delta is equal to P into L divided by AE. Right. Now, flexibility is defined as the deflection in a structure due to the application of a unit point force. So, if we make this force equal to 1, the deflection will become equal to L divided by AE. Delta, when P is equal to 1, will be L divided by AE. So, we say that when we apply a force P equal to axial force P is equal to unity, the deflection or flexibility of this member, this structure, is equal to L divided by AE. So, flexibility can be defined as the deflection produced by unit force. In any structure, let it be pin jointed or rigid jointed structure, we can divide the deflections deltas at the joints as equal to deltas at the joints due to externally applied forces in a release structure, and deltas at the joints due to the unknown forces or redundant forces delta R. For example, if we have a structure, say like this, pin jointed, a truss like structure, let us have a statically indeterminate one. So, let us go for say 3 supports. Better. So, deflection at this joint and here. Well, we know that the value of ds here is equal to 3, and let us consider these 3 as the unknown forces, or the, say, we can call them by name R1, R2 and R3. They are the redundants. So set R will contain the forces R1, R2 and R3. So now, this delta will be the deflection corresponding to R1, R2 and R3. And unless otherwise specified, the deflection corresponding to R1, R2 and R3 are zeros, definitely. If there is support movements along this R1 direction or R2 direction or R3 direction, if they are specified, we can say the deflection corresponding to those three directions are the given support movements. Anyway, for the time being, deltas are going to be 0 over here. All these deltas are going to be 0. Delta along R1, R2, R3 are zeros. Now delta L, there will be some external forces. Say, like that. The deflections corresponding to R1, R2 and R3 in this, due to the externally applied forces in a release structure, would be the components of this vector. That is, once you remove R1, R2 and R3 from this stress, this will become statically determinate. And then you can find out the deflection along this direction and along this direction at these two joints. They will contain the elements of, they will be the elements of this particular vector. Now further, the deflections due to R1, R2 and R3. Once you apply R1, R2 and R3 back, the deflection due to R1, R2 and R3 along the directions R1, R2 and R3 or 1, 2 and 3 would be the components of delta R. So total deflection is equal to the deflection along the specified directions due to externally applied forces plus deflections and the directions due to the unknown forces, unknown R's. Essentially, this equation is a compatibility condition because this is an equation of displacement. So you can call this as a compatibility equation. Now, if we further manipulate on this equation, like delta total deflection corresponding to the unknown forces chosen is equal to the deflection corresponding to unknown forces in a release structure plus the last set, the last matrix or last vector will be written as a product of a matrix, say delta matrix, and the unknown forces or redundant forces. That is, delta R containing elements, say delta R1, delta R2 and delta R3 in this problem, in this case, can be written in longhand form as small delta 11 R1 plus small delta 12 R2 plus small delta 13 R3 delta 21 R1 second term, delta 22 R2 plus delta 23 R2, delta 31 R1 plus delta 32 R2 plus delta 33 R2. Once we do that, we can separate out the coefficients like delta 11, delta 12, delta 13 as a first row, delta 21, delta 22, delta 23 second row, delta 31, delta 32, delta 33 as third row in a matrix, and R1, R2, R3 as a column vector. Now essentially if you connect this with the method of consistent information in the previous section, you can see that delta 11 or any delta ij, for example, any delta ij will be defined as the flexibility coefficient at, let us say, point or joint I due to a unit force applied at a point or joint J. That is a Polish way of telling it in this fashion. You can also tell it like deflection, not flexibility. You can say it like deflection. Deflection at joint I due to a unit point force applied along joint J. That is delta Ij. And we have found out these deltas in at least two examples in the previous lecture already. So if you can find out this delta Ij of all these equations, we can write down delta R in terms of delta matrix into R vector. Delta matrix contains the coefficients in this, all these coefficients. Once you do that, yes, from here you can write the redundant forces or this vector is equal to delta matrix inverse into this delta vector minus delta L vector. You can see that this is nothing but solution of the compatibility equation in a matrix form. That is all. So what we require here essentially is the development of this delta matrix. That is known as the structure flexibility matrix. We call this matrix as the structure flexibility matrix. So the structure flexibility matrix is to be developed first. Then assemble the known displacements of joints in this delta vector. Formulate this delta L vector. Delta L vector is the displacements at the joints, say like 1, 2, 3 over there, corresponding to R1, R2, R3 over there, due to the externally applied forces in the resistance. So once you do that, you can find out the unknown forces by solving this equation. That is the essence of this flexibility matrix method. Now, to develop this delta or the structure flexibility matrix and delta L vector, we have two approaches. One approach is structure approach or system approach, and second approach would be element approach. We will discuss about the different approaches in the next session.